Donald Trump last week putting this nation in danger after taking a phone call from the Taiwanese president, breaking decades-long diplomatic tradition. Donald Trump's senior advisor, Kellyanne Conway, on Sunday defended the president-elect's decision to take a congratulatory phone call from Taiwan's president, saying Trump is routinely briefed on international intelligence reports and is not signaling plans to change U.S. policy. Quote, "It was just a phone call," Conway, Trump transition team advisor, told Fox News Sunday. President-elect Trump is not out there making policy or policy prescriptions. Trump, a first-time elected official, no official foreign policy experience, talked Friday with the Taiwanese president, breaking with a decades-long diplomatic tradition. Washington has pursued a so-called, quote, one China policy since 1979, when it shifted diplomatic recognition of China from the government in Taiwan to the communist government on the mainland. Under that policy, the U.S. recognizes Beijing representing China, but retains unofficial ties with Taiwan. China on Saturday filed a diplomatic protest about the call, which it blamed on Democratic-run Taiwan. Conway said Trump is fully aware of the one China policy and that he is routinely briefed on foreign policy and military experts amid the reports that he doesn't take daily State Department briefings. She accused the media of, quote, cherry-picking about who has called Trump, a Republican, to congratulate him on his upset win over Hillary Clinton. Conway became Trump's campaign manager in the final stages of the White House race, argued that the president-elect and vice president-elect Mike Pence have received such a call from 49 or 50 other world leaders. "Oh, it's just not fair," Conway said. Said, quote, "I know China has a perspective on this," she said. "The White House and State Department probably have a perspective on it, and certainly Taiwan has a perspective on it, but the president-elect's perspective is that he accepted a congratulatory phone call." He knew what he was doing. Donald Trump is going to take a hard line with China, and it'll be interesting to see if China pushes back, if China wants to do a trade war, if China wants to, it's going to be interesting. Normally, you have the U.S. president sort of, or at least what we've had the last 8 years, I think it's easy to say, that you've had the president bow to China. And Donald Trump is going to take a more hardline approach to it, which I don't think is a bad thing. China certainly has taken a hardline approach to the United States. Conway suggested that outrage over the call shows many Americans' unwillingness to accept Trump as their president and to give him a chance, which includes Green Party presidential nominee Jill Stein. Which she said of Jill Stein, "Give it up. Even your friends at the Clinton campaign said it won't change the results." That's not true, folks. In, I believe it's Wisconsin, the results have changed slightly. I think it is Wisconsin. I think it's Wisconsin. Trump has actually gained more votes in Wisconsin, so it's changed a little bit. Probably not in the way Jill Stein wanted it to. Story from the Washington Post about Donald Trump's phone call, Taiwan Gate. Donald Trump's protocol-breaking telephone call with Taiwan's leader was an intentionally provocative move that establishes the incoming president as a break with the past, according to interviews with people involved in the planning. The historic communication, the first between leaders of the United States and Taiwan since 1979, was a product of months of quiet preparations and deliberations among Trump advisors about a new strategy for engagement with Taiwan that began even before he became the Republican presidential nominee, according to people involved in or briefed on the talks. The call also reflects the views of hardline advisors urging Trump to take a tough opening line with China, said others familiar with the months of discussion about Taiwan and China. Trump and his advisors sought to portray the call as the president-elect taking a phone call from the president as a routine congratulatory call. Mike Pence even saying he took the call, accepted the congratulations and good wishes, and it was precisely just that. That glosses over the extensive and turbulent history of U.S. relations with Taiwan and the political importance the island and its democracy hold for many Republican foreign policy specialists. Some critics portrayed the move as the thoughtless blundering of a foreign policy novice, but other experts said it appeared to be calculated to signal a new, robust approach to relations with China. Of course that's what it is. Donald Trump, he's played as stupid on SNL. People treat him like he's an idiot. He's not an idiot. Donald Trump, and people will make fun of him for saying this, but Donald Trump, and he's done business overseas. He knows how some of this works. He's getting advisors telling him how all of this works, and I've got no problem with him coming out and saying, hey, guess what, China? We're not going to bend over or bow down to you anymore. Donald Trump, it looks like, is going to treat this nation as though we are a world power. Because guess what? We are. Now remember, when President Obama went to China, he bowed down. I don't think you're going to be seeing Donald Trump bow down to the Chinese. And all of those on the left who said, hey, it doesn't matter if he bows down. It doesn't matter if he takes this phone call or does that. That's just Republicans talking about imagery. Imagery doesn't really matter. Obviously it does. Donald Trump took a 1-minute phone call from the president of Taiwan. Obviously it matters a little bit. Obviously imagery matters. And there are those on the left who they're very upset. Those who think that Donald Trump is just picking up the phone call and going, hey, this is Donald Trump. Who's this? No, that's not what he's doing. They received a lot of these phone calls, and his staff, his people, determined who's going to call back. And you bet they knew Taiwan was going to call back.